Hello and welcome again. My name is Softwaker, and today I am going to show you a little update for my wither spawner. Before I start and show the details and what I have changed, if you haven't seen my previous video about the wither spawner, I would highly recommend that you're going to watch it, because otherwise you might have difficulties to understand how this thing works in general, because I'm not going to explain the basic layout again. I'm just focusing on what I've changed to make it a bit different, to make it more effective and a bit more usable. I was already working on a different video for about the power generation and transmission in the Hermit Pack, so comparison of the different cables, remote systems, generators and reactors. But then patch 1.5 hit and brought a lot of changes to those things, which now delays me a bit. I have to review and to make sure that I'm really giving you the accurate information. So therefore I'm just working on this video now, or giving you this video now, giving you an update about the wither spawner, because I made some significant improvements to it, and I would like to see, or would like you to see it, to improve your own spawners, or even come up with different designs or improved designs. And if so, please let me know. I would like to see more. I would like to see your feedback. Also, I want to thank you all for the lots of views, comments and likes for my last video. Since it was my very first video, the feedback that I received was very helpful. I got some nice tips and tricks that I could hopefully successfully implement into this one, and will carry on doing in the future, to make sure that my videos are viewable and enjoyable, and they actually help you building nice things. So let's take a look at our spawner. You will see that there are some parts missing. I don't have the fancy screen, and I don't have the item distribution. I have simply put the stuff in those places directly, just to save some space and to not focus too much on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the button once, so to start the whole process, and then you tell me what is actually different. Oh lord. Wait, what? 3, 4, 5, 6? Are you kidding me? Yes, that's what the new version does. It spawns 6 withers at once and then just kills them off in a nice and steady fashion. So that's a basic upgrade. The whole upgrade itself is based on some ideas of the Hermits, mostly Xizuma, but a bit Biffa as well. I've watched their videos and saw something that they did, and I really liked it. Before I explain how the 5 spawn thingy generally works, I'm going to focus on some minor upgrades that I did, just some quality of life changes. And we're going to start with this block over here, a muffler. So that's this one is from Extra Utils, and what it simply does, it simply muffles the sound of the spawning and the fighting. So let's do that again. You see here, yeah, the withers, blah blah blah. When they explode, usually you have those weird and annoying sounds of a wither spawning, which is not here. However, if I go out here, I can still hear it. The sound is not muffled across the server, it's really just in this small area where the muffler is. It's sad, I have no idea how to completely disable the sound, because it can get annoying, especially when I show you later on how to automate it a little bit more. But that's how it is. The other thing that I have is I have replaced the water and took away the vacuum chest to use the item collectors from random things. I have no real idea what's the difference between the normal and the advanced version of it. I always craft the advanced version, because you see, the normal version is very simple, but the advanced version is not much more. Just a bit of glowstone and redstone torch. I mean, seriously, I don't see any reason to ever use the small one. Just go for the big one directly. There might be something, so please leave a comment if I'm overlooking something, but that's how I do it. One important thing for my build is that I have to stick it on the side of a chest. I can't put it on top, because then it would interfere with the shield generator, with the shield itself. Oh, another thing about the item collector, and the reason why I choose it is that the item collector is capable of collecting items through the blocks. So let's say if for whatever reason a nether star drops through the ground or behind the wall, this thing is able to grab it from there. Okay, another thing, and that's also from Random Things, is the entity detector and the entity filter. Both are built like this. So this is just some stone, ender pearls, and this one you don't have to use all four. You can one of them, whatever you have. You can use for lapis or for blue dye, whatever, mix and match, however you like it. How I use it is simply I set it up over here. So I set the detection range is 5 by 5 by 3, and I set a custom and included the entity filter wither boss. To get the entity filter wither boss, you just craft the filter and then right click on a wither boss, on a wither, and then you have the specific filter for the mob. So what happens right now is that the entity detector will look into the 5 by 5 by 3 area, and as soon as it detects a wither, it will send the redstone signal, which then on the other hand activates the shield. That's basically it. Shield. The shield itself has a little change. The biggest one is this one. Just put a stack of dimensional shards in there and you get the looting bonus. So I'm not sure if the looting bonus really affects the wither generally, but sure, I mean, why not? If you have them, especially if you have some ore miners or some other dimensions already, you should have a few of them, so feel free to do that. This simply removes my consideration for the shield. As soon as the wither is there, the shield will be popped up. One important call out regarding the energy is the following thing. Why is this one? Let's activate the wither spawner again and take a look at the energy usage of our spawner. Having so many withers in there and constantly getting damaged from all sides takes a big drain on your energy. So that's 30,000 of protect that's going taken out of your energy cell. So make sure that whatever energy you connect, that there's at least enough energy in there to withhold it. If the energy fails while the withers in there, the shield will be disabled, will be gone, and that's a big problem for a base. If you don't have the supply of 30,000, but you know that you have a big enough battery that can handle it, you just have to wait just to make sure that it's refilled good enough. What I recommend you to do is include the power monitor from Nether, connected with an conduit cable to your battery, and then in the settings tell the system to submit a signal once it's too low. We will later look at it, how to include the signal into the into our circuit, so that, let's say I'm gonna go here, let's say 51%, because the creative cells always have 50%. If I now hit the button, nothing happens. The power monitor says, nope, I don't have enough energy. If I would spawn those withers, the shield wouldn't last long enough, so therefore it would not activate the spawning process. Okay, so that's something you can do, or would I generally recommend you to do, simply to make sure that, let's say a cable is broken or your energy supply is low, something happened and you didn't see it right away. This one protects you from destroying your base with withers. So the power monitor is from Nether over here, and you craft it with a black machine block, which you can use for decoration, which just costs you a bit of iron. So just a bit of iron, and there you go. One capacitor, the basic thing, not really expensive, but really helpful in order to do that. What other upgrades do I have? I have the experience solidifier. I will show the building in a second. That's this one over here, and what it does is simply it picks up all the experience points and creates solidified experience. Each kill is about 36 to 37 solidified experience, And let's see. So let's put them in. And when you use them, that's about 14 levels. So every time I use my spawner right now, the six withers, I get experience points in equivalent of 14 levels. So you don't want to let get that to waste. So therefore, I would highly recommend using this one if you're not constantly supervising your spawner. For the experience solidifier, what you need is solidified experience, and you get them from mob drops generally in the world. So if you are that far in the building, you should have at least 6 of them. What you also need is the advanced coil, basic setup, a bit of gold and a bit of changed redstone and a bit of black quartz, and you need the empowered diamantine crystal block. You might remember the diamantine crystal block. That's basically just diamond block in front of the atomic reconstructor. Hit the button and there you get this one. But then you have to put this one in the empowerer, and on the 4 pedestals around it we need 2 times clay, then 1 clay block and 1 light blue dye to then empower one of those blocks, and you need 2 of them in order to craft this one. Anyway, I personally think it's totally worth it, so make sure, I would recommend to give it a go. As an additional layer of security, I have those Lonsterlite bricks around it. Those Lonsterlite bricks are weatherproof or generally resistant against anything. Only players can pick them up. That's a block coming from Environmental Tech. It's a bit expensive. For example, we have the you need 9 Lonsterlite shards to get 1 block, and then with 1 block you can make, with 4 blocks you can make then 4 bricks and transform them in this way. And what you need in order to get those Lonsterlite shards, you have to have this void ore miner, and I would recommend having a black lens, because that increases the chance of getting the Lonsterlite shards. If you just use a normal colored an uncolored lens or a different color, the chances for Lonsterlite shards are pretty low. I left this tier 1 running for quite some time. I think it's about 2 hours, and so far I have 19 shards. Keep it running overnight, or consider building the bigger versions. Again, that's just tier 1. It doesn't have any upgrades. If you, let's say, have a tier 3 or tier 4, then you can also put in accuracy upgrades, and those, let me just find them. There we go, the accuracy modifier, and when you apply them to the ore miner, instead of empty modifier blocks, they will increase the chance of getting the block of the color of the lens. Okay. So yeah, the simple reason is that if the shield fails, I still do not lose anything, because I have this thing. I left that open on purpose. I would recommend you to fully enclose it, just to make sure that if something goes wrong with the spawning, that all the rest still stays there and doesn't get destroyed by the wither running wild. That's a good idea. Also, what sometimes happens, especially with the entity detector, it can happen that the wither itself is shooting one of his skulls out, dies, the shield gets removed, and the skull flies out anyway. That might cause some damage to your base or to your area, so keep that in mind and consider closing the whole thing up fully. Bricks, or what you also can do is the obsidian, or the reinforced obsidian from Indio, which you build like this. It takes a bit of dark steel and 1 obsidian, and this is also a weatherproof building. The reason why I'm not using it is simply those little particles. You see, every here and there's those particles, and at least on my machine, and I have a fairly decent machine, this is causing some FPS. Drops due to the different particles calculated all the time. So that's why I would be careful with those ones. They are good for a small building. It might be okay for you just have to small closer, but when you try to make bigger builds with it, the particles will wreck you. Or maybe then you've changed the Minecraft settings for particles. But I personally prefer the look and style of those ones anyway, so that's why I use Light. So after seeing all the small upgrades and the nice to have features, let's take a look at the logic behind the 5x5 spawning. At first I'm going to show you what I've changed in regard of shield and the placement. So let's activate the shield, and what we see here is that instead of having just a 3x3 killing area, I've modified it a bit. The original killing area is now 4 height and has the original 3x3 layout, but at the corner points there are also shields, and those one go up into this area so that a wither gets spawned here, he drops down, pops in here and cannot go back in there. That's basically it. And the spawning area is a normal 3x3 area, 1 block dense. Make sure to not put any shield in those corners because that would prevent the wither spawning totally. And then I have put those Lonsterite bricks here. Those Lonsterite bricks are there to make sure that those placers do not place any block in this area. Sometimes, let's say, it can happen that in the spawning process, the placer will place soul sand or a skull in this field, and since this is actually part of the shield and part of the encasing of the withers, as soon as the wither spawns and explodes, this one gets destroyed and takes everything else with it, and the next wither might get loose as well. So I had that problem actually, so that's why I changed it a bit to that one, just to make sure that the soul sand and the skulls are forced to only spawn here. So there's something with the placer that it could place it in 2 blocks, so I'm just closing this off. Those places haven't changed at all. They still take the block right next to them and then spawn south of them, so this direction I look. Those ones have changed a little bit. So those guys now look at those blocks, so I've connected this one to this placer, and they will also spawn south now. However, if there is no soul sand, what will happen here is that it will place it 1 down, no spawn will happen. If this is the case, it's usually not a big deal. You can either go inside and break it yourself, or with the explosion of an already spawned wither, this will be cleared out as well. But then you might lose the wither's gold in the process. To avoid the situation that the wither's gold spawns spawns on the wrong place, we still have those small delay, the 2 tick delay between those spawning and the spawning. So this spawns the souls at first, and then 2 ticks later, this one gets a signal to create the wither skulls as before. Okay, and that's the basic change of layout. As I said, but what do I do to make the spawning happen? And that's pretty cool. That's a combination of 2 things. First, I have the logic gate from AFTool, and we have one over here. You build it fairly easy. You have the machine base, which is just some gold nuggets and a bit of granite or stone or whatever, and then some comparators, and that's about it. What the logic gate does, however, is pretty powerful. It allows you to define the output on this end based on the signals. So you can say and or whatever you want. I have chosen in this case that if there is no signal from the side, which is the power bank over there, but there's one signal from the top, which would be the button press, and no signal from this side, which can be changed, then send the signal. I could also change it to an on-off switch. I could keep sending a signal, but I only want to send 1 pulse. The rest is taken off by a different circuit. So this one is just an on, so it will just transfer the pulse as long as it goes and end it off afterwards again. I could now, however, say I put something else here. Let's say, is the chest full? Is whatever running? Then I could, well, let's say I could make a player detector and say you can only spawn with us if I'm nearby. Something like this. Then I would choose this one, saying no signal from the side, the button press, and the signal from the other side, and then it would generate a signal. So overall, the logic gate is pretty powerful, and I see lots of potential usages for this specific thing. So, if everything is correct, this one will send a signal to a redstone circuit, which is part of the new map, a new mod, the Super Circuit Maker. And that's what I built here. This allows me to trigger a sequence of signals, and we're going to rebuild this one right over there so you can see exactly what it did and how it works. Okay. For the Super Circuit Maker, at first you need a screwdriver. This is what you need to configure the circuits. You go away. Then you need the redstone circuit itself. That's the plate on which we are going to build the circuit. You can go back. For my build, I'm using them some quartz resonators. Those are the ones configuring the pulses. So let me take this one as well. And then we have the tiny pile of redstone or the tiny pile of glowing redstone. For the tiny pile of redstone, there's currently an issue that the recipe has two results. We have the tech reborn result, small pile of redstone, and the Super Circuit Maker result. But if you use the work table from forestry, you can simply switch between them. That's not possible with normal workbenches. That's why I have to put those. Same goes for the glowstone, and you can then combine the glowstone with the redstone, the tiny piles, and then you get those tiny piles of glowing redstone. And the difference between those two is as following. Let me just grab them. There we go. There we go. Let me show you what's the difference between them. Just put them on a circuit. Boop, boop. I like that sound. Okay. Let me then just put a lever on it. So you see, I'm sending a signal, but only this one shows me the signal. The normal redstone will still submit the signal and still work on it, but only here I can see what's going on. That's why I prefer the glowing redstone, because especially when you build a circuit, you want to see what's going on there. So therefore I would recommend the glowing redstone instead of the normal redstone. If you know what you're doing, go for the normal redstone, that's fine too. Another feature of the Super Circuit Maker is the magnificent magnifying monocle, and it's built like this. It's just some gold ingots, and it allows me to zoom in like I used from Optifine. Pretty cool, and it helps a lot when you are trying to build some circuits. So okay, then let's build a circuit, I would say. Okay, I have, at first, I'm just placing the redstone, use the screwdriver to connect it to the outer border, but I have to connect it like this. This one would say it is sending a signal. This one allows me to receive a signal. However, I cannot send a signal out here right now. This is really just receiving, which is pretty important for our build anyway. So, sending out, sending nothing, receiving. You can change between normal and you can change between those by just right clicking, and shift right clicking would enable the receiving part. Okay, so I want to receive a signal from here. Let's say from a button. Yay, signal. Again, we can just gonna show you. No signal. It doesn't accept the signal because it's not sent to accepting. What then happens is that the signal will be distributed to a set of quartz resonators. And we need exactly 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 exactly. and they all will be connected via redstone or glowing redstone, and then the signal will go in. And of course, we also want to have signals to get out, and here again we have to change it to this output method, otherwise it would not take signal from there. And the cool thing is here that based on this layout, there is no signal going in right now, which means if this one sends a tick out, that's fine. The next one sends a tick out, but does not reactivate this one because the signal does not go in. It just passes by, and that's really important. Otherwise, we would have an endless loop of spawning withers. The reason, maybe we should mention that the reason why I have to stop spawning withers after 6 is that usually the spawners go down, go down, go down, and those phantom blazers cannot place a block here if the wither is still there. Let me just run another round. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. There we go. So the wither spawns, it goes down, and as soon as it passes this point, the next one spawns. If I would have the spawn time shorter, the last block would not be spawned, would not be placed, and the spawning wouldn't happen. And you saw that the last time when it was going down, due to the explosion of the first wither, the last one was knocked up a little bit, and this could happen with any other following withers, so it would screw up the whole spawning process and I would lose materials, and that's why I decided to only spawn 6, kill them all, and then spawn them again. Okay, so once they are able to submit a signal, we want to have one signal going out to there and one signal going out to there, and this one gets another resonator because we need a little delay here. So now we're going to change it again to you go out and you go out. That's fine. And this one has to, of course, submit from there. So now we come to the timing. The first one is pretty simple. 1 tick. I can't have a straight connection here because otherwise the signal would go around and activate all the other resonators again. That would not work properly, so therefore having the resonator here helps with that. But 1 tick is basically immediately. In order to have those effects that as soon as it's low enough, I would recommend setting the difference between the spawnings to 42 ticks. So this one is 1 tick, this one is 42 tick, and this one now is 84 because it's plus 42 again. 84, and the next one will then be 84, 126. There we go. This one will then be 168. There we go. And this one will be then 210. There we go. Again, to have the smooth experience between the spawnings, I would recommend 42 ticks between each spawning process. And this one then gets a little delayed. 2 ticks. 2 ticks should be enough, which means that's where the skull spawner is placed. So this one sends out a signal in 1 tick, so basically immediately. Let's take a look at it. So you see, this one goes out. The second one sends a signal, and this one is a little bit delayed. To make sure, first the soul send, then the skulls. And there we go. And that's basically it. That's the sequence that spawns my the 6 withers over here. If you want to know more about the Super Circuit Maker, I would recommend the video tutorial from Direwolf. That's the one that I watched, and it was actually really good. And he explains fairly well how the whole thing works and gives some examples for circuits. So feel free to take a look at that if you want to. Again, this one is now the spawner for the skulls with a little delay over here, 2 ticks. I think I have even just 41 ticks in here. Oh yeah, that's just 41 ticks. You can make 42 ticks to be extra sure, but it's up to you then. And that's it. The cool thing here as well is that you can, with the shift right click, you can hide the circuit. Not for people not to see what you're doing, simply to reduce the FPS, to increase the FPS here, so it doesn't have to be rendered at all. That's pretty nice as well, and it's a big benefit over normal redstone. Basically, I could have built the whole thing with normal redstone stuff here as well, but that would be A, would take a lot of space, and B, would be a source of lag because all of the rendering and shit, and now it's all in one block and no problem here, and even covered, so it's pretty solid. And that's it. That's how I spawn 5 withers at once. So now, with knowing how that works, what else you can do is you could, for example, instead of having the logic gate going directly into the instead of having a logic gate going into the circuit, you could have a timer going into the circuit, and I have some prepared for that later. The timer should be set to 510 ticks if you want to use a timer, so that every 510 ticks the spawner will be reactivated. That's the optimal time to spawn more withers without delays, without problems, or the spawnings interrupting each other. That's from my experience, from my testings. Feel free to experiment with that a little bit for yourself as well. If you don't like the Super Circuit Maker, for whatever reason, I find it's a very powerful tool. What else you can use is, for example, the sequencer from IF2. It's also fairly easy build. And a sequencer, what it does is, let me just place it this way. There we go. You can decide where to send the signal. And you can decide how long the signal and the breaks will be. So basically, delay says how long will this block will be active. Right now I say 20 ticks, which is about 1 second. So 1 second give a signal, then 1 second give no signal, another second signal, and so on. And we can see that and this will run as long as it has a redstone signal. So redstone, just to show that. There we go. So you can here see the sequence, and that says only once. You can change it to twice, loop, whatever it is. Okay, so you have some options over here. Once, okay. So I'm activating it, and now you can see it's going through it. Signal, signal, and now it will run through all the other steps, which are supposed to not send a signal, and that's because we have the signal sent. And that's cool too. I think Xizuma is using this one actually. You can, if you can modify, that's up to you. I personally prefer the Super Circuit Maker, but again, that's personal choice. And the last one that I want to show you has nothing really to do with the spawner. Actually, it's about making the spawner obsolete. Since we have the Tome of Alchemy in the mod pack, what the Tome of Alchemy does is pretty simple. It allows you to duplicate items. So let me just give another star. You put the tome and another star in there, and you get 2 out by using about a bit over 350 redstone. And you can do that over and over again, just to create more. And since there are easy ways to get redstone in this pack, that's a fairly easy way to create more nether stars. I personally found it a bit cheeky, and that's why I'm not using it. But it's similar to the Torturino. That's a question of choice, I would say, if you want to use it or not. If you want to use it, that's fine. I just want to give the option here. If not, there's the other option. And that's about it. I hope you liked my video and the changed style that I used. If not, or if there's something else that I should change where I think that it might be better, let me know. If you like it, leave a like. If you have feedback, I would really love to hear it, and because I really want to improve the way how I'm delivering videos. And if you want to see how the whole thing, the complete spawning process with everything, how it looks like when it's fully automated and how powerful it is and what it can do, just follow me to my next video, and we're gonna go into the super secret room and watch the whole automated spawner in action. And yes, it all fits in this small